Member from Windsor West.
Thank you, Speaker. My question is to the Premier. Speaker, the Minister of Education has finally admitted that class size caps are on the table. The Minister has also acknowledged that the government is a party at the table. But it's alarming that the Minister stubbornly refuses day after day to commit to keeping current class size caps under any deal she signs. Speaker, there is frankly no excuse for not stepping up and protecting the small class sizes and one-on-one time that families expect. Those small class sizes
Deputy
are
House Leader,
what
second
quality
time.
education means, and our kids deserve nothing less. If the Liberal government refuses to step up and do their job for the families of this province, they'll be forcing all of our students into even larger classes this September and forcing our kids to pay the price in overcrowded classrooms. Speaker, will the Premier finally do the right thing? Will she do what her minister refuses to do? Will the Premier guarantee that families and kids today, right here, right now, that current class size caps will be protected because that's the right thing to do for students?
Mr. Speaker, I know the Minister of Education is going to want to comment on the supplementary, but I really need to remark that this is a party that apparently is trying to find its way back to its voice and believes in collective bargaining, Mr. Speaker. And I would just remind this party that part of that voice they're trying to recapture is a belief in the relationship with Labour. That means collective bargaining, Mr. Speaker. And as the Minister has said over and over and over again, the only place we're going to find a deal
Finish, please.
The only place we're going to get a deal is at the table. So I would expect that of all the parties in this House, the leader of the third party would support a collective bargaining process. That's what we're engaged in, and that's what we're going to let run its course, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Supplementary.
Thank you, Speaker. I'd like to remind the Premier that some of these staff have been for 9 months without a contract. You should try coming to the table rather than legislating them back to work. Is abysmal at best. Not only have the Premier and government throwing our schools into chaos because of more than a decade of chronic underfunding, they have also shown zero respect for education workers, their professionalism, or their work environment. They brag about frozen funding. They brag about cutting $250 million from education. They refuse to admit that special education funding has been cut in many schools, including $6 million in Toronto alone. With one hand, they commit to community hubs, and with the other, they have closed or want to close more than 125 neighbourhood schools. And now, after all that, they want to go even further to jeopardize small class sizes and one-on-one time our children deserve. Will the Premier stop the chaos her government has caused to our children's education by committing to protecting small class sizes today and getting it?
Thank you, Premier.
Minister of Education.
Yes, thank you. You know, I'm really not going to take a lecture here from the party that's only education platform in the 2014 election was let's take $600 million out of the spending on education and health care, and whose position just last week was let the teachers go back again 10 days after we end one strike because it was deemed to be unlawful. They voted for the teachers to go back out on strike again instead of getting kids back in the classroom. That's their record in education. But what I would say is the same thing I said to my critic for the official opposition. Is
the member from Windsor West, second time. Answer.
The critic for the third party is not part of the negotiating process. I'm not negotiating.
Thank you.